No, this isn't clickbait. I do owe you guys better. And throughout this fiasco, I've learned a lot of lessons, and I owe you an apology. Let's get into it. Skip it up and that up. Hey everyone, today's video is brought to you by AG1 by Athletic Greens. AG1 by Athletic Greens is a nutritional drink that has me really excited about simplifying my health routine. It has 75 different ingredients, including vitamins, minerals, superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. Let me ask you a few questions. Do you have any kind of gut issues, bubble gut, things that make you uncomfortable in the cheek hole area? Well, the drink AG1 can help you with that. Or are you like me and drink an insane amount of coffee every day and want to find a natural, healthier way to get that energy? Well, the drink AG1 can help you with that. So let me ask you, do you struggle with gut issues? Well, the drink AG1 contains naturally occurring enzymes that help bolster and support the digestive system. It'll support your metabolism and help with nutrient absorption. And it contains 7.2 billion dairy-free probiotics. And what about energy? I'm 41, I know, I have kids, and I drink way too much coffee. Well, AG1 has natural energy supporting ingredients, including naturally occurring B12. Nothing is ever synthetic. It also contains biotin, bioavailable folate, and magnesium. I'm telling you, if you're looking for a way to ease back from caffeine, AG1 is it. And AG1 is super simple to make. You get a scoop, you get 8 ounces of water, or you get one of the pre-made packets, pour it in here, mix it together, and you're good to go. So click the link in the description or go to athleticgreens.com/reviewtechusa and you'll get a free 1-year supply of immunity supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. That's athleticgreens.com/reviewtechusa. So as many of you know, I have been following the Intellivision Amico, let's just call it a train wreck now, from the beginning. I actually was one of the first. I did a video on it way back in 2018, being skeptical of it. And you know how Tommy Tallarico works. If you're skeptical of something, he came on for an interview, and I was like, you know what? All right, I'll give this thing a chance. You know, he was saying the price was going to be between like 150 to 180. And even if the games are if they're quick, fun party games at that price point, sure. So I tried not to be a pessimist because it's very tough not to be a pessimist in the entertainment field, and also talking about gaming and tech news, because as you guys see, there's a lot of negativity out there. And a lot of people say that I'm a pessimist. So I went into the Amico and I was like, look, keep an open mind. Let Tommy talk. Maybe this will be he does have a bunch of connections in the industry. This is before I knew about his level of narcissism. Maybe this could be an interesting little niche product. And then the price went up. And then we started seeing games for it. Actually, we saw games from the beginning. They look pretty bad, but I'm like, look, if this thing's cheap, fine. But then when you were asking $250 and showing Finnegan Fox, which looks like a Flash game from 2006, I was like, nah, man, I'm off the train. I'm off the train. There's some other stuff I made huge mistakes with, but we'll talk about that later. But there's an article here from Kotaku that sums this up nicely. Also, even though they don't like me, I have to give a shout out to Pat the NES Punk and the Completely Unnecessary Podcast. They have been following the Intellivision Amico disaster very closely, and they have been dead on about everything. Well, anyway, the title of the article from Kotaku is "The Intellivision Amico is in deep shit." I think I could say one swear, Jay, right? And it is. I have been following this train wreck since day one, and this is crashing and burning beautifully. Anyway, this is a synopsis of this from Kotaku. Here's the bullet points they have for the saga of the Amico. Public frontman and former CEO Tommy Tallarico has openly insulted critics. I have been firsthand to that. He was a complete clown on Twitter and in interviews, especially the live stream interview I had with him where he called people gaming racist. They say that here. calling them gaming racist and mentally unstable. And he made brash claims that I can't even repeat here about games that were on the Nintendo Switch that were factually not true. The guy's a clown whose big ego made him want to, as Pat and Ian would say, cosplay as CEO. It continues, while having been found between regular crap posting and baseless legal threats to be following several notable white supremacists on Twitter. And before you think it's Kotaku just virtue signaling, I did a little digging on Doug TenApple, who is the creator of Earthworm Jim, and here are some of the bangers of things that he said. And there's actually worse, too. If someone can choose to transition in spite of being called insane or much worse, could you at least consider how difficult? And he replied back, well, I would hope and assume my opinion of Heather doesn't keep him up at night. So you could see what he's doing there. And someone writes back to Doug again. Okay, we're obviously going to disagree about a lot here, but to keep it simple, what's the harm in using the pronouns people prefer? This is where we see him being a terrible person. There is no harm in what they call themselves. There's harm in demanding everyone in the world to endorse it. That's how adulthood works. And here is Heather Alexandria, a trans woman, and here is him being facetious again. Heather, you're a good man and entitled to your opinion. If you ever want to go into why we created the way we did in the 90s, let's chat. Also, on top of it, too, when people called Doug TenApple out on the terrible things that he has said in the past before, he's said also homophobic things on podcasts. I have heard Tommy Tallarico like double down and said, no, that's cancel culture. Like, no, Tommy, he's still actively saying very hateful things. It makes you seem really bad, but Tommy's ego is more important and he has to be right about everything. As GamesIndustry.biz has reported, the company is in enormous financial trouble, with an SEC filing from earlier in the year revealing that they were in significant debt, including an aggregate of $3.1 million in outstanding loans. The console's hardware is basically, and this is true, a $100 Android phone from 2016. When Tommy was on all of those interviews with me, sure, Tommy, you didn't have to tell me about the RAM clock speed and how much compute performance the SoC had in terms of graphics performance, but a basic idea of what was in there. You know why he didn't want to say anything? It was a crap mid-range chip from like a $100 phone from 2015. The console has been delayed multiple times now. Remember, it was supposed to come out in 2020. What happened to that one, Tommy? Anyway, originally due out in October 2020, which Tommy hyped the hell out of, and it never happened because he talks out of his ass before he actually knows what's going on. It was then pushed back to April 2021. Remember, that's when they made the pre-orders for it. Then October 2021, and now in June 2022 is obviously still nowhere near release. It's not happening. They're not releasing the console. Come on. And then Intellivision had the audacity to pretend they had an unboxing to show. Like they had John Alvarado show, oh, here's the Intellivision Amico box, like it was a retail unit. It wasn't a retail unit. Someone put that piece of crap together. It was handmade, and it was basically to keep scared investors from not being scared and to pretend they actually had a product. The other red flag in that video is John said that he was shipping that unit over to Europe so the European division could show off the Amico. You don't have more than one of those. So you literally, like, they said it without saying it. We don't have more than one of these to pass around because this was a handmade unit. And there was like spelling errors in the UI when they showed it. You could see that the controllers weren't new. It was just a joke. It was an insult to everyone who watched an unboxing video. They were insulting people's intelligence in television. And then they go into an update letter that Phil Adam, who is now the CEO of Intellivision, probably for not much longer because the company won't exist, giving it's just another boilerplate letter that they're working on things. And there's like, this console was supposed to be released in 2020. And the things that they're saying that they're working on, they were lying. This console didn't start as a scam, but it became a scam. Now, what do I owe you an apology for? Well, like I said before, this video isn't clickbait, or if I didn't, I'm telling you now, it's not clickbait. I did interviews with Tommy. and I didn't do my job. I didn't really want to interview him because I knew he had diarrhea of the mouth and he would just talk for hours on end, which if you watched interviews, there's proof. And I didn't ask tough questions because I knew that if asking him a question, first off, getting a word in with Tommy is next to impossible. And asking him a question, that means you're leading him down at least a half an hour of a rabbit hole. But you know what? Those are weak ass excuses. If you're going to have someone on to interview, whether you're a YouTuber or a journalist or whatever, it's your job, including my job, to ask tough questions. That's what you're there for. You're not there to be a yes man. And my laziness and my disinterest and not wanting to interview Tommy is an excuse. I still had a job to do. It doesn't matter that I didn't want to hear about his life story 65,000 times. It doesn't matter that he's a tough person to interview. It's still my job to ask the questions, and I didn't. And I learned a lot of lessons from that. I don't care how tired I am next time or how stressed I am next time or how annoying the guest is that I have on next time. It's my job to ask the questions that I should ask so you can hear them. I have a job and an obligation when I have people on like that to ask them questions that you want to hear. Because if I'm just going to have them on there to just sit on a soapbox and say whatever they want to, without me realizing it, because I was an idiot, I was just being a propaganda machine for him at the time. Now, granted, I was not one of the cultists. I got off the train. As soon as that price went up to $250 and I started seeing games like Finnegan Fox, I'm like, Tommy, this is a joke. I'm out. And then he's hated me ever since. He literally came, before he blocked me, he DM'd me. I made a video about this and told me that you need help. What a professional thing to do as a CEO is to DM someone who was just calling you out on your lies, Tommy, doing what I'm supposed to do, and you come in my DMs and tell me I need help. Now I'm going to get a little pissed off. And then you have morons like the Retro Bro. I'll call him out, Retro Bro, who's saying that my family should be ashamed of me over this console. You had your cultists go after people and put out lies about them over this console. Tommy, this has nothing to do with your personal life. I know you're having some struggles, but you should be blacklisted from the entire gaming industry. Not a soul in this industry should ever trust you again. You've lied. You've gaslit people. You've manipulated people. You were a snake oil salesman with this. And anyone who tried to be journalists, okay, like when the technical specs leaked and you tried to get attacked and say you were going to sue the Ars Technica journalist that leaked the tech specs that were public and that's their legal right to do. After all that, you should be done. You don't deserve to be in this industry anymore. I don't care what your accolades from the 90s and early 2000s are. You tried to think that I was going to be starstruck by that? The hell out of here, man. It was interesting talking to you in the beginning. It was funny to see a guy that I used to watch many moons ago, and that was like, oh, wow, life is weird. But what did you think, that was going to make me just be a shill for your garbage product? And you got other people to do it. And you know what I kind of feel bad for, minus a couple like the Retro Bro, is that they were hoping... Why, I don't know. You're a washed up former TV host. They were hoping that riding your coattails was going to get them relevancy on YouTube. And you knew that. You knew that. That's why you were their friend. That's why you gaslit them. That's why you kind of brainwashed them into being 110% devoted to you. Because one, you're really insecure and you need that. And you were hoping that you were going to have a bunch of free mouthpieces to advertise for you. But it turned weird. It turned strange, and it turned into a cult. And it all backfired on you. And you know why Amico failed? Because your narcissism didn't let you listen to criticism, and you only had yes men around you. Not that the Amico had a good chance of being successful, but if it had the proper leadership from the beginning, maybe there was a chance it could have had a niche market. But Tommy was more concerned about his ego than he was about actually listening to criticism, because he couldn't hear it because his feelings would get hurt. And I owe everybody an apology for being a weak-ass interviewer, and I assure you, I will never do that again. This is Rich of Review Tech USA signing out. Have a good one.